How do Mime Artists? Welcome to the last of 10 that are currently available, up to 700 main stages in Pokemon Shuffle. This is a very tricky puzzle type stage, so follow these directions exactly and it should get you through. It's a fairly strange and tedious one. That extra move there just gives you a little bit more space when it comes to your actual team. I went with the normal full metal team. The best Pokemon here definitely by far is the Registeel. It's able to get rid of those unbreakable blocks that will keep showing up. There will be disruptions in the shape of hearts as well. There's a lot that comes on in a short space of time. The +5 moves is more than necessary. Even with a +5 moves following the puzzle bit to the letter, you might not even be able to beat it. It's a little bit temperamental. It's fairly hard. It's one of the trickier puzzle stages, but that's what you can expect once you get up to 691, so many main stages. So it's fairly tricky. If you want to swap out the Celesteela for something like a Dialga with a Block Smash, go with that. That'll help a wee bit, just being able to have another Pokemon out there that'll be able to get rid of blocks. It'll be good, it'll be helpful. It's fair to say it's a fine swap to have. They're both about equally as powerful. Next up is Mudkip. This was another strange type of... because there's Mudkips, there's Tricos, they go through both evolution chains in disruptions. If you want, take along the full Sceptile evolution chain. Could be fairly helpful with Mega Sceptile as the Mega. It's interesting. You could take along the full Mega Sceptile team and then perhaps something that's got Eject or Eject Plus. That could help getting rid of some of the Mudkips, the Marsh Stomps and the not Marshadow, that's a completely... and the other one. The Stage 2. I forget the name. It's been a long day filming all these videos, forgive me. To get a +5 move, an S rank on this, I think the best thing to do would be maybe take along the Sceptile evolution chain, +5 moves, and I think that'll be you having it there. Shouldn't be much of an issue. And then next up is Lickilicky. Lickilicky. This one, full fighting team, what you'd expect for the normal type. There's nothing too surprising. Quite a few Lickilickys on the stage. There'll be some in the Skyfall as well. It's as to be expected. Once you get rid of the bulk of them, which happens after a turn or two, you can then just start working on getting some of the Buzzwole hits, getting some of the Beware hits. That way, I'd say focus on the Beware first, that way you can be able to worry a little bit less about some of the disruptions. So once you're able just to use the Power Hug on it, can be very helpful. Clear some of the stage and just be able to take it out in a couple of heavy hitting moves. As you'll know by now, most of these Pokemon can be fairly highly leveled. The Beware I think is the lowest, I think that's only about a level 9. It can be swapped out for something like a Machamp. I personally like the Beware with it can do extra damage, can disrupt. It can stop the opponent's disruptions for a turn or two. Very helpful on a stage like this, where the disruptions are every couple of turns and where there's a relatively high amount of HP. So a good couple of hits with the Buzzwole and that really brings down the health quite a lot. Could have made a couple of different moves there, maybe gotten one or two fewer moves, but that was how it went. It's always different looking back at the video and being able to see other moves you would have made. And Lickilicky skill boost. Don't know what Lickilicky's skill is. Wormadam. The Wormadam's Burmese, they seem to have the trolliest possible stages. Unbreakable blocks. Wormadam's on the field. Breakable blocks. +5 moves, definitely necessary. Mega Start, I think also very necessary just to get rid of all of that trash on the starting screen. I brought along the Shaman just for the possibility, once the disruption delay wears off, of just being able to use Sleep Charm, as there are so many disruptions on this stage that really do impede on your progress. Ash Greninja, I'm sure you could guess, that's just because it can put out a lot of power. And the Tapu Bulu gets rid of gets rid of 5 unbreakable blocks on the field. So after you get the starting field mostly rid of, I'd say focus on the Ash Greninja, and then once the disruption delay wears off, go in with Shaman. It's a fairly fine team, you can get the hang of it pretty easily. The Mega Aggron's just very good, it's helpful for combos, it's helpful for getting rid of so many of the disruptions that show up on the field. I don't know how much of the disruptions you will see in this run, just because I'm doing a fairly good job of not letting it do any, but once it starts it's very hard to let it or to make it stop. Give it a shot for yourself, do it itemlessly, see how it looks, see how it feels. It's just one of those trolley stages that Wormadam and Burmese always seem to be. Okay, so you don't actually get to see any of the absolutely terrible disruptions or how often they occur, which from a gameplay point of view is very good. 2 moves left, it's okay. It's not the best. +5 moves, very necessary. Disruption delay, I think is very necessary. Mega Start, very necessary. Maybe if you're lucky you can get a Shaman first or second turn, but then you've still got all of that trash just on the starting screen. It's a trolley type stage. And then we have Mosh Dump. This one, again, going in with a fairly strange looking team. Going in Mega Rayquaza, going in Mosh Dump, Silvally, and Kartana. Kartana you can swap out, mine's just has Beast Mode, I think it's about level 10 or 11 as well, so it's fairly okay. As you can see, most of the Skyfall is just Mosh Dumps, and that's not just in the start, that's completely throughout it. There will be Mosh Dumps all over the place, so I think it's a very good Pokemon just to bring along. And then once you've got the Rayquaza working, Rayquaza can help get rid of some of those Mosh Dumps from the Skyfall and that are disrupted onto the stage. There's some ice blocks as well, as you can see there's just a lot going on. And then once you're able to combo with your own Pokemon, it's not got that much HP for the stage, it's just with all the Mosh Stomps it does minimal damage and you're not really able to get many great combos out on it. So for an S rank, +5 moves, maybe... I think Mosh Dump is necessary because they are in the Skyfall. But on to the next stage here. Roselia, we've got Mega Tyranitar, Genesect, Ho-Oh as well. It's just a 3 Pokemon stage. As you can see, a lot of unbreakable blocks on the stage, and Roselia will disrupt you with some more throughout the time. That's why Tyranitar is here. I did try it with some of the super effective ones. I think Shiny Rayquaza is super effective, but I personally like the 3 tapping Pokemon over the 2 where possible. Especially when you have so many disruptions on the field that 2 tap Pokemon don't really get enough away to help dissolve the field of all of the disruptions. And once those are gone, you will have a wee while in which you're able to combo, so there you can focus on using the skills of the Ho-Oh, which mine has been skill swapped for Nosedive, or the Genesect, which has Crowd Control Plus, I believe. That can do a lot of damage as well. I think the Ho-Oh does more per match, but the Genesect doesn't do too shabbily. I think my Crowd Control is only skill level 1, perhaps 2 at best. All of these Pokemon are about as highly leveled as possible. Tyranitar is 15. Ho-Oh I think is 15 as well, and Genesect's only about 13. I think that goes up to 30, so that one's not as high as the other 2, but high nonetheless. And there we go, that's it beaten. To get the S rank on this stage, maybe adding in a little +5 moves, maybe a Mega Start as well, and I think that would be you without any trouble getting the S rank. On next to Clefairy with a +5 moves, Mega Start, Disruption Delay. It's the same stuff we've seen time and time again. The disruptions on this stage are immense. There are so many Clefairies on the stage. Sometimes Clefairy will disrupt the whole stage with Clefairy. Granted, that does a lot. That creates a combo in itself. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but if it doesn't do that, it will just take up blocks, big chunks of Clefairies that are very hard to get past. That's why Celesteela definitely one of the best Pokemon here. If you're not able to beat it by the time that the disruption delay wears off, which I think would be quite hard, there's a heck of a lot of HP on this Pokemon, then Celesteela definitely one of the best. Being able to make consistent matches of 4 or 5 are wonderful. Sometimes a match of 3 will go off with the Celesteela's Eliminate ability, getting rid of all non-support Pokemon on the stage. But beyond that, it's a fairly tricky stage just with how many disruptions there are, combined with how much HP there is as well. This is a fairly standard steel team. If you want to swap out the Registeel, it's not very necessary. Any other super effective types would be fine. I'd recommend metal/steel because of the Solgaleo on the team. So here are some of the Clefairy now being shown on the stage. It's every turn, every 2 turns, there will be a lot of Clefairies. You could try bringing along Clefairy itself, just not using a disruption delay. Possibly could work. I just tended to go for the route of using the eliminate ability on the Celesteela as opposed to trying it with the Pokemon itself. But give it a shot if you think that could work. It's a possibility, it's just it would probably be a very long, laborious stage. Wouldn't be doing too much damage to itself, not being super effective. And there, luckily, some of the Clefairies were able to disrupt themselves into winning the game. 2 moves left. It's a tricky enough stage. Give it a shot with just taking the Clefable, not Clefairy, with taking along Clefable itself. See how that works. Next up, Roserade, +5 moves, Mega Start, Disruption Delay. This is one savage stage if you've not got a disruption delay. The ice will be on the bottom, it'll be on the top, it'll be in the middle, it'll be on the sides, it will be absolutely everywhere. That's why the Alolan Ninetales is here, just in case the disruption delay wears off. The possibility of being able to continue or to stop the disruptions with some of the Ninetales' Freeze Plus ability, very helpful, could go a long way. Ho-Oh, super effective, Nosedive, you've heard it before, you've seen it before, and Genesect. Powerful, good, fits in the team well, it's okay, it's good. If you've not got a highly level Genesect, just go for another Pokemon that hits really well, or even someone like a Silvally could do quite well in a situation like this. Got quite a few different types on the team. So there's just a taste of some of the disruptions that you would see every couple of turns, on the top, on the bottom, in the middle, to the sides. It's fairly uncomfortable. But if you're going in with a disruption delay, I wouldn't necessarily recommend a Barrier Bash Pokemon, just because it's good to be able to hit hard as fast as possible and try not to need to deal with the disruptions. And if you do, there's the Mega Aggron. Skill boost as well. It's fine. Penultimately here we have Whiscash. This is a stage that I sped up. If I didn't speed this up, this would be a 6 or 7 minute stage, just with how many combos there are. There's a lot of HP, and the Pokemon don't do that much damage. You want to take along Whiscash and Execute. Those are the two Pokemon that Whiscash will disrupt you with on the stage, as well as any of the Pokemon that just get rid of itself. Shiny Gyarados is super effective, so I think that's possibly the best. But there's also other options, Gengar, one of the shiny Mewtwo's as well. Choose what you like, whatever you're most comfortable with. This stage takes an awful long time, as you can see. I think it's about 70,000 HP the stage has. When you're making matches that do a little bit less than 100 every time, it's so many matches. Granted, you get some really high combos, it's very laborious. There we go, 3 moves left. Give it a shot, see what you feel. Lastly here, Primal Kyogre. It's a big, beautiful beauty. That makes sense. Going in, every item imaginable, and the team, Mega Tyranitar, Silvally, and Rayquaza. Rayquaza is very good at getting rid of all of the Primal Kyogres, the Kyogres, and the Groudons that will be on the stage. Silvally is very helpful in the combos, as there will be a section between all of these Primal Kyogres and when they start disrupting with Groudons and normal Kyogres that you can kind of get some good combos in there. Mega Tyranitar is just very good to be able to get rid of some of the Kyogre on the side, or even once the disruptions come. I tried it with one of the Pokemon that gets rid of itself. I think it was Shiny Gyarados I used, or Gengar, I forget which one. Did not work as well as the Tapper, and the second best that I found, the best one being the 3 Tapper, the Tyranitar here, second best being Rayquaza as its Mega. Came in somewhat handy, it was okay for comboing. I beat it with 6 moves left, which is fair enough, that's not too shabby. There's some very good combos in there that the Rayquaza was able to help. It was able to get rid of the many forms of Kyogre, some of the Groudons as well on the stage. So it's a very good Mega as well if you want to bring that along. Silvally I think is very necessary just to be able to be hitting very hard. It's a lot of HP, and there can be a lot of disruptions on this stage. The complexity -1 makes it a little bit easier, but even with that you're definitely not guaranteed to beat this stage. So here is that point in which you're able to get quite a few more combos out. If it were to have lasted a couple more turns, we would have seen some of the disruptions with the Groudons, with the normal Kyogres, which are a little bit hard to deal with when you've only got Rayquaza not as the Mega. That only takes out 2 per turn, but once you've got the Tyranitar you can be tapping where it's necessary. Luckily 19 moves left. Without the +5 moves, 40 moves left, which is shockingly good for something that is incredibly hard. There were some wonderful combos in there that were helped along. Able to catch it without even using a Great Ball. A very hard stage. I know this run made it look easy, but it certainly isn't. And there we go, Primal Kyogre, 90 base attack. That is incredible. And then Rock Shot Alpha erases 7 breakable rock disruptions and increases damage. That's going to be a very good Pokemon going forward. Already 20 raise max level possibility. And that's the end. Thank you very much for watching, and how do, Mime Artists?
Eggs! Eggs! E-double-G-S eggs!